All right, folks. We're in the winner's match. You're watching the TING Open Season 4, round of 32, European Group number 1. There's another group coming up tomorrow with some other fantastic players, but like I said, we got to get through this one first and see which two survive the group to move on to that round of 16. Spawning here in the top left, we've got the pink Zerg player, Stephano, with his opponent in the bottom right, none other than the red... Excuse me, did I say Protoss? Shit, let's redo that. In the top left, we got the pink Zerg player, Stephano. And his opponent at the bottom right, the red Protoss, MaNa. Which I'm pretty sure I messed up the intros for. But if I didn't, then Stephano just gets 2 intros, because he's the guy so nice we intro twice. Also, got some subs coming in. Back to Busy back here. Thank you guys for that. Biker Horst for the 2-month comes back for round 2 to say the important second month, saying from Naruto. I don't watch that weeb shit. No, I'm just kidding. Boruto's been great. What am I saying? I hate everything. Also, Wings of Code, thank you for the brand new sub with that Twitch Prime. Welcome aboard the Base Trade Brigade. And last, but certainly not least, Twitch wants me to buy an MKZ. I'm in it for the bits. And he stabs the bit boss right in his heart, eats the heart of his enemy, and gains his courage. Thank you, Diesel Max Power, and enjoy your boss status. Anyways, Stephano showed a lot of really good games versus Terran, but we haven't seen a lot of his games versus Protoss. Thank you, Officer Doofy83. I swear I was casting. I wasn't drunk. But yeah, we haven't seen a lot of his games versus Zerg, or excuse me, versus Protoss. We saw Stephano's ZvZ, we saw his TVZ, but we haven't seen a lot of his PVZ. And as I had mentioned before, this is like a really difficult matchup, just generally speaking. If the Protoss, like MaNa, who is somebody who's been willing to take a step onto the dark side, goes like mass oracles, and gets downright dirty and disgusting, this might not be so good for Stephano. But MaNa was in chat being his typical humble self, and I don't think MaNa has ever once in the history of him playing StarCraft admitted that he thinks he has a chance at winning a series, but maybe he will on this one. I don't know. Also, apparently shouting out "No Jenny No" got a bunch of our mods distracted. Look, guys, she's a beautiful girl. She's amazing at PUBG. But I need you guys over here. We're casting an amazing group of StarCraft 2. Don't abandon me, boys. I need yous. Also, Ektar, 200 business that eat his heart to take his courage, his rich, tasty courage. Thank you for those 200 bitty bits. While this goes on, an adept with much futility attempts to kill an egg. I love this dodging and weaving with that drone from Stephano. So here's the thing I also want to talk about with Stephano while we have this attack kind of kick off, right? Before this gets too much into it, Stephano is a player who defined himself really well in like the Roach era of the game. You hear people talk a lot about his Wings of Liberty / Heart of the Swarm days. Honestly, I wasn't too much into like the whole esports side of things when he was at his peak, and I was just getting into things when Stephano was kind of coming down from it. One of my first big casts though, and I will never forget this, DreamHack Valencia, we had 11,000 something viewers as the B stream casting Stephano. It was so sick. So this guy does have a special place in my heart, regardless of like what you guys think, whether he's washed up or he relies on a good race with no balance, blah 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 blah. But so far, not so good. The Oracle comes in and will murder this queen. Should be able to stick around for a little bit afterwards. The second queen's not going to be enough to push us back initially, but it will be low on energy, so falling back might just be the better course of action anyways. MaNa's following this up with a Void Raid 2. And Stephano's still sitting at about 43 drones. It'd be nice to have a little bit more, obviously. But not the end of the world to be low. He's making a lot of lings though and looking to go for a counterattack. The beauty of this is whether it's more oracles or whether it's a Void Ray, the thing is a lot of that damage, it doesn't deal with lings the best. But because MaNa specifically, I want to point this out, like 5 energy equates to 5 seconds of damage. If he didn't pull the Oracle back when he did, and he had gone for a couple drone kills, these first like group of lings would have killed an Adept and probably a Pylon on top of that. Void Ray's coming out a little bit too late, a little bit too slow. Also, I'm sorry, I missed it. Boris! Mr. Boris Makarov, head moderator here on BaseTradeTV. If you guys got any complaints about the moderators, you send it over to Mr. Boris Makarov. Thank you for the 500 bits. We'll read the message in a moment. Almost gets us around on the Adept, but the Void Ray has done more than enough to keep these Zerglings from spiraling out of control. And as I had mentioned, MaNa has been willing to take a walk along the dark side. Hate leads to anger. Anger leads to oracles. Or oracles lead to anger. Either way, this could get nasty for poor Stephano. We watched a match recently for the TING NA group of Jon Snow versus Scarlet. Scarlet off racing as Protoss went mass Oracle, and I'm talking like 19 or 20 Oracles, guys, and it looked stupid. It looked like David Kim had been rehired to balance the game. You know what I'm saying? So if MaNa's gonna go down this path as a player who plays Protoss as his main race and not an off race, I'm expecting really good things, just because of how gross I've already seen this be. But Mr. Boris Makarov said, I've been looking for that sub song for months. What is that song name you're using for subs? You mean right now? If you mean right now, it's the Moonbeam City introduction, man. Best show ever. I'm so mad it got canceled. Oh, why'd you have to bring this up? Now I'm in rage mode. No, but seriously, Moonbeam City was amazing, and I loved every second of it. There's no part of that show that I felt was filler or BS. I loved every moment. But now I got BoJack Horseman, at least. 4 Oracles getting ready to hit the main. Void Ray assisting this too. This means if he wants to, you can focus on that Spore Crawler in like seconds flat. There's the prismatic alignment. The Oracles take care of the Queen. They both take care of the Spore Crawler. Anti-air is what now? Hydras are coming out, but they're not out yet. In fact, these Oracles, if they sit on top of them, coming out 1 or 2 at a time, the Hydras aren't even gonna have a chance to fight. Queens go down. Void Ray comes in for round 2. I don't know if there's actually enough energy on these to kill the next Spore Crawler, so pulling back for the time being. Already killing a good chunk of the Hydras that spawned. 5 Queens on top of this. And, of course, that Spore Crawler in the main leaves it somewhat defenseless. While this goes on, there's 4 more Oracles left at home, and these Zerglings don't stand a chance at a run by, so they turn around and hightail it out of there. This Void is also picking up damage on the Overlords. Stephano feeling that supply block in a bad way, not making enough Overlords right now. Ugh. Ugh. Well, guys, if you're in chat right now, and you're feeling that salt, and you really want to balance wine, this is really great place, full of people just like you. It's called reddit.com/r/StarCraft. But in all seriousness, I will concede that Mass Oracle looks ridiculous. But here's my problem with this, right? Mass Oracle, it's like a little bit like Mech for Terran. It's not something everyone's going for all the time, but when it does work, it looks unstoppably stupid. Like, you gotta imagine how this possibly came into the game. But if you guys have watched players like Snoot in his series versus Haas at Montreal, and you've seen Bly respond to this with Mutalisks, there are absolutely better ways to fight Oracles than necessarily with Hydralisks. And I think if you're gonna do Hydras, you gotta pair them up with Infestors. If you're going for air, mix in a couple Corruptors. You're gonna have a good time. But the point is, Stephano is gonna get wrecked if he just goes with pure Hydra, and that's all he's doing so far. MaNa actually segments off to deal with the Banelings. This was a clever move. He could have taken all the Hydras, and he knew he would still win the Hydra fight, but he didn't want the Banelings slipping by and killing your probe line. This has not been efficient out of Stephano, to say the least. Look at the resources lost. Ugh. But the truth is, too, even if you can't go Infestors, let's say you're not looking for the spellcaster units, you don't got a parasitic bomb, you're just having Hydras die. To be honest, out in the open with a big concave, you can take on Oracles with Hydras. But this map is a lot of ramps and alleyways and chokes. So there's a lot better chance that Stephano takes a bad engagement rather than have a bad unit composition. Also, if MaNa gets too greedy and starts taking fights over things like Spore Crawlers and additional Queens, it gets bad too. But look at this. He's so ready for the fact that he knows this is going to be massively Hydralisk. He's going for Storms. He's going to get this Templar. And while the Oracles have been a driving force in this game, I think like Charge Lots and Templar are going to be what ends the game. Also, thank you to Rife94, or maybe it's Reef? I'm full of grief trying to read that name. I'm sorry. Thank you for the 2-month back-to-back sub. He says, "Hey, oh, what's up, brother?" Spire coming out of Stephano. I like this. Now, this might be because he's thinking about Broodlords and moving to Hive Tech, right? This might not actually be the, okay, I'm dealing with Oracle solution to it, but I really like the idea of this possibly being Mutalisks, definitely being a couple of Corruptors, and stopping this from getting so far out of hand. Both players are on a pretty nice worker count. If we actually look at the income graph, you can see there was a spike in MaNa's favor for a bit, but even with all the Oracles coming in and doing what they have, Stephano's worker line, I guess, hasn't really been touched all that much this game. Only 7 drones have died, so he's just gotten away with tons of income. Thank you very much, Aeon Infernum, for the 5 months. Keep up the good work, Rifkin. Thank you so much to keep up the good watching. But okay, down here, up here, however you want to look at it, these oracles being driven off. They do get revelation tags constantly on this army. One of the dangers for Stephano is, like, the way Zerg play, you rally all your stuff to the front line, right? You don't actually have, like, production rallied out like Terran does. So with everything being revealed like this, there's a chance that whatever he's swapping up to, whether it's Broodlords, Corruptors, Mutalisks, MaNa just ends up seeing it because it's stuck on top of a bunch of units that have been revealed. I love all these cannons coming down. Unfortunately, these Lings are getting top of them right now. A couple of storms will clean this up. We got Archons and charge slots too. No problemo. Drives this off. But yeah, there's those Corruptors we were talking about. Now, I'm really curious if he's going to morph these into Broodlords right away. Stephano might feel like rushed and pressured to get units that can deal with Archons and what have you, but if he takes the time to leave these Corruptors as Corruptors, he might actually be able to pick off some of the Oracles before he has to worry about these being a problem. Also, it's really interesting to note that MaNa did go for weapon upgrades while this goes on. He's definitely thinking about carriers and such. Oh, nice denying the stasis trap. Here come those Corruptors, though. This is what I'm talking about. Catches a lot of the Oracles. A couple of them go down immediately. Oh, barely gets that next one. But weapon upgrades do not affect Oracles. So if he was thinking about continuing to go Oracles in this game, I don't think air weapon upgrades would be his selection. But if he's thinking about Void Rays, or Carriers, or hell, Tempest, now realizing the Corruptors are out, that weapon upgrades will benefit. But Oracles have silly spell damage, so they can't actually upgrade their damage. And thank God, too, can you imagine if you could upgrade Oracle damage? You're like, hey, this thing doesn't kill things fast enough. We need to make it kill faster. Let's give them weapon upgrades. Please, God, no. I don't want to live in that world. That is the darkest timeline. But this is really interesting the way it's split out. So MaNa's actually walled off a lot of places. He's got a lot of cannons set up. He's very conscious of Zergling run-bys being a problem for him later. Adrenal glands can get away with a lot. But we finally have fungal growths and possibly neural parasites getting researched here out of Stephano. You know, there's a player coming up in the not European group, but the qualifier group, Denver. If you guys don't know who that is, he's actually, I will say, the only Zerg player I want to say that has really revolutionized Neural Parasite. We got a lot of cool play, and one of our sickest clips in recent days came from him abusing Neural Parasite at a show match versus Clem. So I get really excited when I see Neural Parasite queued for things now, knowing that there's this like next level potential that players have just been ignoring all this time. Not saying that we're expecting this out of Stephano or anything, but it's knowing that the potential is there makes it really cool. Either way, I like that spellcasters are being added in. Whether it's a Viper, you know, get those abducts, parasitic bombs, you name it, or whether it's just going to be spellcasters from infestors, just spellcasters in general are a good addition to this Zerg army. I think a lot of people will shy away from them, though, because the fear of feedbacks is enough to be like, nah. But I'm glad that he's still going for something here. While this goes on, by the way, I gotta admire the top side of MaNa's defense. He's got a lot of cannons spread out all over the place, but he's also got stasis traps just kind of sprinkled in there too. So really, everything MaNa has done here has been like great investment to stop Ling run-bys from being problematic for him later. So now he can focus all of his attention on things like the front lines. But oh, he didn't have Revelation cast on these, so he gets caught a little off guard. Banelings roll on in. Mothership's not going to be able to save him here entirely because, of course, the Overseer was there. But now with the Overseer being gone, not a problem for him to actually push into the Hydras. Just don't extend out of the range of that cloaking field. There was a game, too. I always reference this. If anyone has a YouTube link to it, it's worth watching, even if you're going to hear me spoil this. But Neeb versus Snoot, for me, is still the most epic Protoss defense I've ever seen in my life. And Neeb had gotten so many cannons and Templar, and Snoot had mined out his side of the map, and like there was an insane way this game played out. But if you have enough cannons down, nothing touches you. Like, legitimately nothing touches you. But for me, it's not about the cannons and the defense, even though it is cool and good to see them laid out like this. It's about what he's got in the composition. MaNa's got those Templar for Storms. He's got hella Archons, and even though the carriers are arguably late to the party, Stephano's not really hitting a timing that he can push in here. With Tempest on 5, he can easily one-shot each of these Broodlords down. No chance for transfuses if you're instantly killed. The one in Montreal? No, it was on a map called Invader back a while ago now. It's Neeb versus Snoot on our YouTube channel. It's like a 40-minute game. It was phenomenal and stupid, and it just showed you the extremes of this matchup. Like, I really do not know. Even WCS, I don't think, had a matchup that showed the extreme of ZvP the way this matchup I'm referring to was. And ever since then, it's just kind of like knowing nobody could ever hit that max scale of things again. But yo, he gets you at a perfect time. This is before much is ready to go. Neural Parasites come down in some of this. This is kind of cool to see. He goes for the Archons, but unfortunately, can't quite reach those Infestors to kill them. So it removes a lot from the party. It's funny seeing the not actually grab the mothership. I thought that was for sure what he was going to go for. But Recall's out of this thing. This might get a little bit messy. Spore Crawlers did finish up after all, but he didn't realize the Infestors were out of juice. I think that's a fight MaNa may have been able to take in, but I like that he actually pulled back to play it safe. There was no base there to threaten. There was no like pivotal army to catch. There was no reason to attack down there, and recognizing that and not overcommitting to it, that's the mark of a really good player in StarCraft 2. Because you guys have seen this. How many times is like your favorite player overcommitted to an engagement and you just have to go like, why you just threw the game? MaNa avoided doing specifically that. Oh, Boris is linking something, and we got paused. Semifinals? No. This is like a single game, Boris, from like forever ago. I think I'm the ref, though, so I got to count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The only thing I can tell you is definitively the map was Invader, and it's like a year old at least, because that's when like the map was in the map pool last. Anyways, we can look for YouTube VODs later, guys, because right now we got a really sick game at hand, and I'm not sure what that pause was. Maybe a bit of lag, maybe a bit of hiccup. MaNa gets a base killed, not canceled down here. But we are in late game PvZ territory, and this is something a lot of players still haven't figured out. And I'm talking about the Zerg side of this, by the way. Protoss are really, they get to this stage of the game, and it feels like unstoppable in a lot of scenarios. But Stephano's done a couple of very interesting things here. First off, he's gone a little bit heavier on the Infestors than I expected, and he might be thinking about Neural Parasites only. The beauty of Neural Parasite in this sort of scenario is MaNa's going to be maxed out, right? But we look at his actual unit count, and he doesn't have many actual units. So hypothetically here, you've got 8 Infestors, Neural Parasiting 8 units like the carriers. That is not over, but maybe about half of MaNa's army removed from the equation before he can even fight. Got the Mothership, a couple Tempests. The point is, 8 units from MaNa is a lot because all of his units are really expensive, thus he doesn't have very many of them. If this was an army of like 50 Zealots, Neural Parasite wouldn't even be part of the equation. But yo, sees this army coming. Big catch on these Zerglings. Wonderful stasis trap. And of course he recalls with perfect anticipation. While this goes on, what is this Nexus? What? I guess he didn't want to wait for creep to recede? Okay? I don't It's a recall point at this point. Actually, if MaNa built this Nexus hastily just so he could recall to it, I would actually love that move. That would be so clever. Because he has been utilizing recall a lot in this game so far. But it looks like he cleans up the Zerglings with relative ease, pulls back towards the middle. Stephano's still, by the way, mining. He's got a lot of map control going on. Yo, Dr. Disrespect SC2, how's it going, man? You guys should have met this guy last night. We gave him a big old host to Reno and threw a couple of bucks his way. I think he was casting some like in-house clan league or something, but good to have you on board and good to see you, my friend. Oh, topside though, MaNa, he's got a recall if he wants to pull this off, but if he does it now, it might be too late, so he's just going to go push and maybe sacrifice the base. A couple of stasis traps and cannons will buy him time, so if it is going to come down to a race, he can get going, but oh, he's going to wang jangle through all these spore crawlers, and that is a lot of static defense set up out of Stephano. He's contemplating it though. He's thinking, do I go back to my 4th base, my 5th base? Do I keep poking at the front lines? It's a lot of spore crawlers to go through. Disrespect SC2. You know what? I got so hyped up on that doctor train. My bad, dude. My bad. It's the disrespect of SC2. I was disrespecting your name by calling you doctor. I didn't go to school for 12 years and drop out only to be called doctor. Right? I think that's how... Okay, anyways. My bad. Yo, big revelation. This army, unfortunately, though, is so... Like, he can't reach it. He just can't dive in there. The Archons, by the way, helping kill a lot of those interceptors. Broodlord's being used to target on top of the Archons, so now he's got a bunch of Broodlings to go for him, but he recalls the heck out of there. A couple Templar left behind. Feedbacks, a couple of Storms maybe on the retreat. Not looking so hot as these guys are kind of destined to die, sad to say. But MaNa's main part of his army has been left alive and intact throughout these fights. You know, he's not losing big pickoffs like the carriers. He's not losing the motherships relentlessly. He's gonna get on top of these Broodlords. Oh, this is actually a sick catch for him. Void Race and Tempest take out a good chunk of this. He's got to be careful diving too far, though. He knows there's more Infestors. He's seen their willingness and eagerness to neural parasite as well. But I was going to bring back, this is MaNa's resources lost combined with his bank makes it look like he's in such an untouchable spot. But the fear is really he could throw this game with like one bad engagement. Crepper's going to fall back, realizing the Morphin in a little too close on that front line. You know, there's a way to play around this with Mass Corruptor. I don't actually like that he's going for Broodlords still because he's got nothing he can really do with them. There's no ground army beneath this. It's all in the sky. It's all in those carriers. And if you just hit and run with the Infestors, you know, there's not even that many Void Rays, but there's those neural parasites I was talking about, guys. They get some damage done here, but Fungals on top of the Interceptors locking them down. These carriers are almost out of actual units to attack with, so it comes down to the Tempest. Big Fungals holding everything in place. MaNa's contemplating a recall. Positioning himself, maybe? No, he's going to keep pushing the front lines. Oh, this is kind of scary, guys. The Broodlords fall back. There's nothing for them to do, like predicted, but 20 Corruptors coming out. Stephano remaxing with his entire bank. This is going to be his last big attempt at a fight with 25 Corruptors. Also, Darren Krakowski. Mike Krakowski. Thank you very much for that new sub, dude. Glad to have you on board. Welcome to the Base Trade Brigade. You've joined us at just the right time for a super hype part of the game. 22 minutes leading into this disgustingly overpowered composition out of MaNa. But there's that recall. Oh no, the boy got left behind. No. He did so much damage with this attack, and down here while this was going on, you bundle this up with the fact that Zealots were killing drones and driving off another base. Stephano has 50 resources to his name. He's mining, but not very well with 28 workers. You know, a lot of them were turned into Spore Crawlers, the Great Wall of Spore that's been listed down the map. MaNa now gets to focus on the southern part of this. I just noticed he killed his own Tempests. I think realizing Broodlords are no longer part of the equation, removing those cleans up a lot of supply and gives them freedom to get more Templar, more Void Rays, more units. In fact, does he have any left or he killed them all? No, he killed all of his own Tempests. Oh, that's straight up savage, guys. That's straight up savage. By the way, the upgrade tab looks so cool to see this like filled out. We don't see this happen often, but if we go to this, like upgrades across the board for players are full. Every upgrade for players just finishing up is 3-3 as the last remnant here. But the Broodlords, yeah, they're in play, but they're really not an issue. They get focused down so quickly. So many Interceptors, so many Void Rays. Corruptors and doing Spore Crawlers doing what they can to take out those said Interceptors, but falling back behind the mothership just to rebuild. It's not very costly for MaNa, who has lost, by the way, 181 Interceptors. Also, looks weird to see 5 Interceptors lost, but this is because Stephano did, of course, neural parasite a carrier earlier. Oh, that Storm, though. That Fungal, though. The Storm's a lot more dangerous than the Fungals. Six more Infestors. Actually, this makes a lot of sense, too. Not even for any other reason other than his gas bank, but, yo, taps out. There's the GG. Very long game number 1, and I just realized the entire time it said best of 3. I want to make sure all of you guys tuning in know that this is a best of 5. So this was the first game in what is, I'm sure, many to come. I normally don't go to commercial break this soon, but that was the 30-minute game, guys. So we're going to go to a quick break, and I'll see you for game number 2 when we get back. But yeah, we're getting Odyssey. Sorry, the players actually took a moment there, too. We had some hiccups getting people into the game and all that. There's no intro for this one, though, so just enjoy the dulcet tones of nothingness loading into the game. I hate this map. This map makes me very feelings. But yeah, thank you very much to Darren Krakowski, as well as Disrespect SC2 for the most recent subs here on the channel. Disrespect SC2 I want to bring up because if you guys didn't see it last night, was actually one of the people we bombed after the stream was done. Give him a host, give him some love. Always trying to support those small streamers. And actually, I have a clip. I took the time to make these clips from last night. If you missed it, I'm looking in chat now. Some very funny reactions from two different streamers. I think it's worth looking into. They're both awesome people, though. But anyways, like I said, I had done the best of in that first game. Keep in mind, guys, this is a best of 5, and it is the winners match finals. Well, not finals. This is the winner match. After this is the finals. Ah, my brain's already gone. Top left side of the map, though. He struggled with that late game. It's the pink Zerg player, Stephano. And to the bottom right, gonna be the red Protoss, Team Liquid's MaNa. Now, I don't think Stephano necessarily played that late game all that bad, but the thing is, you get to that point and like everybody has a bad time. Ooh. Thank you very much to Tough Kitty Club. $3 coming in my way to say thank you so much for this stream. Here's some love. Long live BaseTradeTV. Oh, feeling the love, dude. But Stephano needs just a second here, so hopefully this won't be too much of an issue for him. He did have to pause last time as well. But this is where it gets interesting, because for Stephano, I think he's got a lot of all-ins in his pocket from his history playing StarCraft 2. Whether he's willing to use them or not is the question, because if you really don't want to fight MaNa in the late game, and you really don't want to deal with oracles in the early game, the best thing to do is put the pressure to your opponent. But, all right, gotta do countdown.
Game resumed.
Yo, there's this really cool feature. They have a countdown built in the game. I am making a mental note to myself right now. When we talk to Blizzard at BlizzCon, I'm gonna beg them. I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna demand. I'm gonna get down on both my knees. I'm gonna beg them to put the countdown timer associated with the resume game feature, because it is so silly that I have to do it this way. Although I can see how it could also be an inconvenience for others, so maybe they can just make like a checkbox in the lobby that's like, look, when they unpause, there's a countdown. But yo, couple things going on here. MaNa takes a gold base. Now, he doesn't do this Hearthstone style. If you guys haven't seen, Hearthstone has been doing some super sick, awesome moves with gold bases on Odyssey, but he takes it at his opponent's gold, not at his own. And this is so you can put down a pylon here. This overcharges and reaches armor units out here. You put the pressure on. It's awesome. If you haven't seen what I'm talking about, go look up any game Hearthstone's played on this map, and he's probably done it there. But anyways, that aside for the moment, the gold base is going to mess with scouting quite a bit. Stephano's going to come in here, and he knows what happened last game with the oracles. He might be tentative that there's like any sort of Stargate, like whether it's at home or whether it's proxied, and getting to your opponent's base, you're expecting the natural. If there's no natural, things get a little bit scary. You get a little bit paranoid even. So he may also be smart enough to just go for the gold. In fact, the Overlord looks like it's rallied this general direction anyways, so he may find out about this. Is this a problem for MaNa? Not necessarily. You know, this actually used to be a thing Zergs would do back in the day when we had... Oh, I had the map name and I just forgot it literally as I was saying it. It's that really famous map that like Scarlet and Bomber played on in like Red Bull. It was a space map. It was Protoss. My brain is drawing a blank. But the point is, people have been taking fast golds versus anybody as Protoss, and there wasn't always something you could do about it. You couldn't always punish this. So a common response was just to play greedier than this. But he's trying to be slick. He's trying to be cheeky. He recalls probes over so nobody sees the walk, I guess, down the middle of the map. But Stephano's Overlord's still gonna find the base. Habitation station! Thank you, guys! Oh, that was gonna actually, like, spiral out of control in my brain. Habitation station. Thank you, guys. Yeah, gold bases on there were taken, too, aggressively. And some of it had to do with base location, but a lot of it had to do with the fact you just could not punish a Protoss player who took a fast gold. Not the ways you would want to. As the Lings dart on in over, there's a pylon up for an overcharge. This should cover most of the mineral line. Not all of the mineral line, but most of the mineral line. However, having recalled, he doesn't have the energy for an overcharge. Ooh, that's kind of annoying. But the probe micro here is fantastic. Only 2 go down. That's not bad for MaNa. Second pylon's coming up. He's going to wall up to the top side too. Stephano did, by the way, cut a lot of workers to go for a lot more Zerglings. He really wants to get into either this base or maybe push the main. Either way, I don't know if this is the right call to make. It's going to be difficult to make anything work against what MaNa's set up here. Oh, he's going to Bane Bust too. Okay, so if he says, you know what, MaNa, enjoy your gold base. I'm just going to kill all your production in the main. I think that could be the best way to go about this. The Overlord has got to sit here scouting and see that there's not a full wall off after all. We'll see what he's doing. There's still a lot of lings on the way. I mean, he's investing in this, guys. Workers are cut. He's going for this attack that he wants to do a lot of damage with. We do have these Zerglings going out, I guess, to be a scout to confirm which and where he wants to hit. But yeah, with the Mothership Core so split, this is actually genius. Let's say you have your natural base. You can't pull this off because the Mothership Core is either here or here, but the point is it's split between the two and can reach both bases. With the Mothership Core being up here, MaNa now has to pick and choose which base he wants to defend with it. And it's either the gold or the main, not both. But while this was an attack at a Stephano gearing up to go for aggression, he may have to use it defensively. It's a lot of Zealots and an Immortal that just slipped past the Zerglings. I'm not sure if Stephano's realized this. He may look for this. Okay, now he'll see it. Actually, if those Banelings come along, this is an army he can kill with relative ease, but looks like some units have gone over here with those Banelings that popped off. Say one or two. He's still got more back at home though. +1 melee is going to be huge for this too. If he's looking to kill any sort of building, +1 melee is going to help him chew through it so quickly. But as I said, he was gearing up and hoping to do an attack. Now he has to play defense. On creep, now realizing how close this is, Zerglings, they go from running down the middle of the map to immediately coming back home. Zealots are split pretty nicely. Stephano's actually maybe pulling the trigger a little too soon and trying to use these Banelings. He could really wait for these to stack back up because it is MaNa who's got to stack back up as the Immortals get surrounded. Units kill, Banelings collide into the newly warped in Zealots. Stephano's handling this so well. GG takes game number 2. Very nicely done. And I think MaNa knew that, like, to be clear, guys, MaNa knew that he had no follow-up to that if that fell apart the way it did. So while Stephano was the one who was kind of turning that into an all-in, I guess MaNa was too. Just too focused on Stephano. By the way, Interloper is going to be our next map. My god, that was clean, says chat. I know! He made it look so good! But let's get everyone in here quick so I don't get... There we go. Match history, nope. Make referee. Booyah! So if you guys are having a good time today, do me a favor. Hit the follow button on the channel. It's not going to cost you anything. It's nice and free. And we got that follower count now over 94,000, which is sick. But players are ready to go. Let's hop into Interloper. See you guys in game. Okay, things have been tied up 1-1 now in the series. And that game was everything I was talking about in terms of, like, if you can't win in the late game, win in the early game. But that was not because of the other guy. I want to say everything that happened was because of this guy's decision making. Spawning in the top left, we have the blue Protoss MaNa. No gold bases for him this game. In the bottom right, we have the pink Zerg, Stephano. Also, y'all are blessing me like crazy with these subs today. I'm loving that Twitch Prime coming in from Summit000. Thanks very much for that. What's that bring us up to now? I think that's 12 or 13. No, we had Disrespect SC2 as well, so that's, I think, 14 new subs. Let me just go double check as I enjoy myself thoroughly. No, I'm still rocking 16 new subscribers today, whether it's through Prime or otherwise. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. But yo, Stephano, it's so hard to get a read on that last game for me because for him, he was reacting to what MaNa did. That wasn't Stephano's decision making. He wasn't maybe going to blindly go like ling all in anyways, but realizing the opportunity was there, he seized it. And that for me, by the way, is why I really like Stephano. A lot of people like, oh, he just got carried by his roaches back in the heyday, he can't play good anymore. But one thing I've noticed was when he was playing the Showmatch versus Clem, for example, he very quickly realized Clem wasn't a player who split and chose to go for like Banelings and Infestors. Next up, he was playing against other players who could change his strategy around it. He's good at adapting to what's going on, and that last game was another good example of this. Now we saw him kind of flop apart in that first game, but that that, to be fair, is like a situation that almost no Zerg players are dealing with fluidly. And whether it's the mass Oracle part of that you want to see referenced, or whether that's the mass late air, either way, yeah, it's a tough part of the matchup to get around. Does BaseTradeTV make money through Prime subs? All right, let's lay this out, because I love talking about Twitch Prime. First off, if you guys have Amazon Prime and you haven't connected it to your Twitch, then you're missing out on Twitch Prime. You get free junk every month, coupon codes, in-game loot stuff, and sometimes free games entirely. So definitely get on the Twitch Prime hype train. On top of this, when you're watching any channel on Twitch, you get free subs once a month. This means one time every month, instead of spending $5 to subscribe to your favorite streamer, you can use your Twitch Prime sub. That streamer gets the full value of a regular sub, even though you did it for free. Beyond this, you also get no commercials. Whether the broadcaster offers commercial-free viewing or not, it doesn't matter. By having Twitch Prime, you see no commercials on Twitch. And what's better than that still is the broadcaster gets money for that commercial as if you watched that commercial, even though you didn't get that commercial, because you're awesome at Twitch Prime, regardless of ad block or not. So Twitch Prime literally saving Twitch and broadcasters alike. That's why I get nothing but super stoked whenever we see it come in. And we got RMS2121. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. And then we have the was it the Protostitutes? Shoot, I can't remember which team owner he was, but Gojiramons was part of the AI versus AI fights yesterday. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub as well, man. Awesome, good stuff. But yeah, if you have Twitch Prime, you can super feel guilt-free about ad blocking. I don't give a fuck if you got ad block if you got Twitch Prime, guys. What up, Base Trade fam? What up, right back at you, man. But okay, so for Stephano, again, this matches on him. It's clear to me that if MaNa can get away with going for Stargates, and if he can get away with being aggressive, he will. We talked about this a little bit too before his games even came up. He was hanging out in Twitch chat, we're making jokes, this will be a quick and dirty series, blah, blah, blah. But what we are seeing is actually some variety in his builds. Like game 1, obviously you went for the gross build. Okay, you went for a lot of oracles, we get it, everyone can do that. Game 2, tried to shake it up with a gold base, make it a little bit flashier, maybe just play for the fans, I don't know. Game 3, now he's going for Resonating Glaives, and possibly a big attack with a depth that Stephano might not be prepared for. The worst feeling in the world is knowing that you've got the Banelings, and that you've got the Zerglings to take on an army, and then seeing that army split, and suddenly you no longer have the power to deal with it. So this is not necessarily something Stephano's going to deal with, even though he's going to have the tools and the units to do so. He's also got a nice surround on this third. I don't know how much MaNa was willing to actually commit to this. This may have been a fake third in anticipation of his Adept all-in. But either way, the fact that Stephano removes it from play now means MaNa has no choice. Banling gets a pretty good connect there. These are not really killing a lot of the Zerglings. They were focusing down drones, so they get 7 workers. But this also takes away a lot of MaNa's army supply. If you had leveled this out and traded out with a lot of Zerglings, maybe the follow-up attack is a bit more impressive, but... Well, I talked about him not having an option here. He still doesn't throw down a lot of extra gateways. Oh, there we go. I was going to say, he's got a lot of money banked up. If he was thinking about a third, I really don't think he could manage to take one right now. But what he could do is, again, pull into that all-in. Find a way to make that work. Oh, he's a little bit exposed here. He's got force fields to make sure this doesn't get too bad for him. But he's just going to recall instead. Brilliant move. He could have tried to take that fight, and he would have taken losses. Maybe he could have taken a victory, too. But this recall guarantees that he's got units to deal with these Banelings. And the Banelings don't fully knock down the wall. He's got a force field to keep this up, too, if he really wants to. And this was a good defense out of MaNa. Keep in mind, by the way, behind this, Stephano does have +1 melee finished up. Zerglings just dancing around back and forth. Not really a lot more they can do. Maybe taking on the pylon, but then they risk getting force fielded in. So I think pulling back's a good choice here. Stephano has stopped droning for a little bit to get so much army supply out. I'm wondering if this gives MaNa the freedom to take that third, like he had originally wanted to. It's costly to do this. Not just in terms of like actual mineral costs, but it's just him splitting his forces between 2 bases now, as we see. Bit of a problem here as the Nexus gets killed. Not a cancel. Big pick off out of Stephano, because MaNa's not exactly swimming in cash, guys. Losing 400 minerals is not something he can so casually do right now. He tries to catch some of the Zerglings with the force field. That's a nice move. I think that this should be able to hold on to the third this time. He knows he can't afford to cancel it anymore. He needs to get this third base up and running. I just want to point out how good +1 was because he almost killed that Nexus again. that got down to like double digits health, boys. But 13 Hydras coming up behind this. Not that many Banelings from the early fights remained, but he does have Baneling speed on the way. My concern is all of that's coming out, and not all of it's here and ready to fight now. So the Archon's getting here with a bit of War Prism Micro might have a lot of sustainability. But once the 13 Hydras are out, they can start fighting back. So right now, MaNa looks like he's got a lot of power. We'll see if he can keep that momentum rolling. So a depth transfer onto the main. This is going to force some units to hang back, otherwise he loses a lot of drones. And of course, if units are hanging back, they're not part of this army trying to fight here on the front lines. A couple of force fields could lock in these Hydras, but Guardian Shield reduces a lot of that damage. Beautiful pickups on those Archons, keeping them alive for another round. Comes in for another blast. A lot of these Hydras getting weak, but these Archons, they don't seem to die, all thanks to that Warp Prism. God, can you imagine if Archons had Blink? Oh. Sick control on the MaNa so far and really well handled. 9 drones died on the back end of this too because he did get in there with those Adepts. So for all things considered, him having his third delayed, denied, killed, and then delayed again, MaNa actually ends up ahead on workers. 61 probes, 3 bases. This is fine. And this isn't a dog sitting in a room on fire saying this is fine. MaNa is actually very fine. Knocking down rocks, limiting walls, smart moves. He'll go across the map with a Warp Prism and maybe not see the Banelings and Hydras coming in, but he'll have Warp Ins. Now, this is going to be really important, whether MaNa chooses to Warp in before or after it's too late. If he warps in offensively, he'll have less at home to defend with, and he might just barely lose out. But if he warps in offensively, Stephano might not be able to hold. Yo, okay, I'll get to that donation in a minute. Thank you so very much, whoever that was. I heard the awesome beats. But right now we got the Banelings rolling in. Not many force fields going down. Not many force fields available. But the splits are so good, so the Banelings do almost no damage. Now it's just a question of can he deal with the Zealot or the Hydras. He just warped in a ton of Zealots across the map, though. I don't know if he'll have enough at home. It looks like he barely will. And if that's the case, then these Zealots might win the game through the mineral lines over here, shredding workers to bits. New charge lots come in. Storms blanket some of the Hydras, but GG's get called. Stephano loses, and MaNa takes a 2-1 lead in the series. Now keep in mind, MaNa has not won yet. It's a best of 5. But let's replay that 6 donation. Or not. Come on, I pressed the button. Yo, Bunkers. It's Bunkers. 1337. It's that lead speak, baby. What the fuck is going on, he says. Well, apparently someone's being super generous as WTF is going on. Also, we got these Prime subs still rolling in. Oaxiol. I'm not gonna. Oaxiol? Oaxioli. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. I can't say that right. I'm so sorry, dude. But yo, we're gonna quick commercial break. 2 minutes when we get back. Game number 4, so sit tight. See you soon. Guys, the good times don't stop rolling, and y'all are being fucking amazing in chat. We had more subs come in even during the introductions. So let me get the player intros out of the way. We'll give some love to you guys. Spawning in the bottom left, he is up 2-1 and on the verge of winning this series. It's Team Liquid's MaNa. With his opponent in the top right, the pink Zerg player, Stephano. If Stephano loses here, he will move on to fight against DNS in the grand finals of the group. Sorry, every time I hear that, I just start bobbing my head. I love it so much. But okay, we had Jupesor. Then Krugerson comes back for 42 months to say peer pressure, maybe resub yet again. Now back to lurking. The Blood Raid comes in for 4 months to say shh, shh, sneaky resub. The Garox, as well as King Lu, brand new subs. I love your faces, guys. Thank you so much. And we had Freepness ask this, but I'm gonna caution against it, okay? As much as I should be selling out as much as possible and try to convince you guys to do tier 2 and tier 3 subs, please keep in mind that while you can upgrade your subscription to be like more value, there's not actually anything extra you get out of it. Twitch doesn't have the tools for us to do anything extra for the tier 2 and tier 3 subs. All you get by tier 2 and tier 3 subbing is access to extra, like 2 extra emoticons. That's it. If that's good enough for you and you want to support the channel, please do. Don't let me stop you, but I don't want you to waste your money either. use that sub money on another subscription to another channel, or just don't eat it. But honestly, tier 2 and tier 3 subs, they don't get you that much. So if you really want to show your love, God knows I'm gonna love you for it, but I don't want you to waste your money. Anyways, best of 3, sorry, fixed now to say best of 5 here on the overlay. And man, Stephano's had a hell of a series. Unfortunately though, he's still the one losing. MaNa, I like that he hangs out and chat with us too, by the way. He does this a lot. I want to be perfectly clear though, to dispel any disillusion, guys. MaNa does often hang out and chat, and usually he'll look at chat that's been written in the game after the series is done, but I guarantee you he doesn't stream cheat. So I just want to dispel any rumors from him hanging out, because I think it's really awesome. I wish more players would totally come hang out in our chat. We have a lot of players who lurk in chat too, but not so many will come in and say hi from time to time. So I love MaNa for doing precisely that. Anyways, you're also experiencing some of our lovely trolls in chat. Thank you, mods, for taking care of that. You guys keeping the stream nice and clean. Thank you kindly. But yeah, for the Ting Open round of 32, we've had a good mix of players and a good mix of builds, and MaNa's thrown a pylon down over here at the 3rd. With an Adept and a Mothership Core on the way, I don't know why that went to the Cyber Core, I clicked on something wrong there. The Overcharge should be enough to not only kill the Queen, but maybe pressure the Hatchery. I don't know that this is enough to actually commit to killing the Hatchery, but this can certainly slow down taking this base. In fact, this might even make Stephano forced to make more Zerglings. That Overcharge is going to pop, and this can do some serious damage. He's actually target firing the Queen with it. Oh, so gross. He's got enough energy for another one soon. 5 seconds to go. He'll pop that other Overcharge and maybe kill another Queen. Maybe get a couple of drone kills with this. The Adept actually transfers past this and goes on over to the natural base. There's no defenses over here because everything's dealing with this pylon. So even if this pylon doesn't slaughter and just simply distracted, this one Adept's picking up like 3 or 4 more kills. Stephano's not only down a couple... Oh, nice build cancel. Not only down a couple of workers, he's being forced to make more Zerglings to deal with this. And of course, with the Queens being low, that's where this Oracle comes in afterwards, executes the Queen in like a second flat, and then kills any drones that are at this base. It's very important that Stephano's actually making Spore Crawlers and not just build canceling drones, because he's going to need them for the Oracle follow-up to this. You don't even have to scout to know it's going to be Oracles either. I'm going to assume he did. Yeah, he saw the Stargate. But even if you didn't, it's Protoss, man. What Protoss in the right mind? Oh, my brain is dying. What Protoss in their right mind isn't going Oracles nowadays, even if it's just 1 or 2 of them, much less the insane amount that you would otherwise see. But yeah, the Adept gets here to the main. The Spore Crawler's out of position, so this Oracle happily just chills while the Adepts block out the Zerglings. Spawning Pool Sim City playing against Stephano as the Queen goes down. The Adept transfers over to the natural. Just kidding, psych, it was a cancel. Now she's protected by the Oracle. 5 drones, a whole base of mining denied. And this Adept, it's not going away anytime soon. The Oracle might get scared away. Okay, here comes the Zerglings. This has killed a grand total of 13 workers so far. Stephano also forced to cut a lot of drone production to make these additional Zerglings. A lot of damage done by MaNa. Now Stephano's going to try and go for the counterattack. There is an Overcharge, but only 1 Overcharge available to defend this. More Stargates are coming down, and oh, I think he wants himself quite a few Oracles. Ooh, it's going to be gross. This is so well handled out of MaNa. I love this. The timings, the positioning, the damage, obviously. He loses the Oracle. That kind of sucks. But the fact is he did so much that ramped up to protect him into getting 2 more Stargates. Now, Stephano's going to have to get down and dirty. He's on a timer, sort of, whether he realizes it or not. With those 2 Stargates on the way, things get bad for him at home if he can't force MaNa to stay at home. So if a lot of Zerglings and Banelings are forcing these Oracles to pop their energy on MaNa's side of the field and defend, then they're not going right across the map. They're not killing Queens, and they're not killing drones. And that looks to be what's going to have to happen so far. But I think, if done correctly, MaNa should have no problem holding this. I mean, this is not that many Banelings. If the focus fire from the Overcharge and the Oracles on the Banelings, the Zerglings can come after. He's going to realize this too. Focus fires down 6 Banelings. He does lose the second pylon, but there's that Oracle in the sky. So some probes are going to die here. Void Ray comes out too. It looks like MaNa should not be in danger of losing this Nexus. Just a couple of probes. Although more Zerglings joining in, not going to hold up to the might of these Oracles. Good defense out of MaNa. Decent attack out of Stephano. But it comes down to the fact that he's not going to be able to keep this momentum up forever. And at some point, MaNa's going to be able to go across the map. And with 3 oracles being made at a time, you have to consider he's just trading energy for units. This is almost as bad as watching something like a swarm host kill something for free. You know MaNa's not giving away much to make this happen other than time. In fact, Void Ray is going to come on top of this hatchery and just melt it down. I thought he'd go straight to one of these side bases and kill a Spore Crawler, but yo, more power to him. Unfortunately, as the oracles come across the map, it was at a time where he's left exposed back at home, but the overcharge takes care of the first wave. Oracle's heading on over to the main. Oh no, there's only a Spore Crawler and a Queen. The Hydralisk Den is only just starting. In fact, he could possibly kill the Hydralisk Den before it even has a chance to build Hydras. Meanwhile, Zerglings are running amok on this side of the map, but those Zerglings don't mean much in the grand scheme of things. If everything on this side of the map is dead. More Queens, more Spore Crawlers, more everything that can shoot up because these Oracles are getting really out of hand. They're almost out of energy, so it might be a pause on the attack, but all the Queens have been removed. This hatchery somehow lived too, by the way. I guess the Queen's got on top of that Void Ray. But yeah, the Oracle's a little bit dry. Gonna have to fall back for the time being. 25 drones died though, guys. 25 drones were slaughtered. Third base gonna go down for MaNa, but honestly, he wasn't super dependent on this base. This was like a nice thing for him to have. Also, yo, shout out to Loco for that auto host. My dude, much love. Hello to anyone from Loco's AFK chat. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. You've tuned in for the finals of the TING group. Now, excuse me, that's wrong. This is the winners match. We got the finals coming up next. Loser of this series fights DNS, which at this rate might be Stephano. MaNa's getting away with a lot in this game. The actual resources loss is a little bit closer because, granted, Stephano has gotten damage done. He's been killing probes, killed a Nexus. Ooh. But only 2 Oracles have died. For 91 Zerglings, 7 Queens, 39 drones, and of course a couple Spore Crawlers. I'm no mathematician, guys, but numbers don't look good. I don't know what this drone is doing. Gonna try and take a sneaky base elsewhere? Oh, this hatchery's gonna die pretty quick, I think. He's gonna chase the drones instead. Stephano's kind of on a low-ish drone count anyways, so losing drones totally sucks. There we go. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. You remember that old meme? Yo, got some sexy sounds coming in too. We'll get to that in a moment, guys. Who's watching the Oracles run rampant with this game? More subs coming in too. Big love to everybody in chat, but MaNa, seriously, he's almost out of juice, so he has to pause once again. He's so close to running away with this game, and then he just comes up a little bit dry on the energy. This is so funny. He has to keep pulling back, but grand total workers count now up to 50. Hydralisk out can finally maybe shoot back, but if we're gonna be honest, guys, I don't know. Unless there's like 11 Spore Crawlers down, I'm pretty sure these Oracles don't care about the Hydras. Gateways down for some Sim City. One of the worst things was these Zerglings, every time they ran in, they did get a full surround on anything they wanted to, but now with the pylons and the gateways up, it's a little more difficult, so these run-bys have ceased their effectiveness. Zealot's now paired up with the Oracles, add in some charge to the mix, which he does have researched, and these Hydras are not looking so scary. Oh, God, I'm just gonna close my eyes. I can't even watch this. I actually legitimately am now casting my eyes closed. I'm gonna auto-follow the Oracles and try to cast this engagement based on sound, okay? Hydras are attacking by the sounds of it. Not for long, though, because it sounds like they're dying to the Oracles. I'm not sure what's going on, because I can't quite tell if the Zealots are doing good enough from their sounds, but if I'm guessing, most of the Hydras are dead, because I don't hear the of their attacks anymore. The Oracles ran out of things. Typing a game, is that the GG? Yes, it was! Opening my eyes to MaNa winning this series 3-1. And he gets out of the group in first place. So if you guys are a Poland resident or a MaNa fan or an anti-Zerg, either way, rejoice, because MaNa moves on to the round of 16. Stephano will now fall to fight against DNS, another ZvP, in the finals of the group. Now, I want to quickly advertise, because if you guys don't know, tomorrow we got another TING group lined up, and tomorrow's going to have Harstem, Bly, Snoot, and Optimus. Whew. I'm so stoked for that group. I just got shivers. But okay, we got some love coming in from Layscar, $3 to say go Griffin, Rifkin. Did I say Griffin? Why didn't I make my name Griffin? That would have been so much cooler. Someone call coin flip. I'll give it to who? Pulse first. Flip this coin really quick because I forgot to do this beforehand. It's tails. I don't know if anyone can see that or not. Tails. Stephano called it. Tails. Stephano wins. Pick A or B. Go. All right. So anyways, big thank you to Lacecar that we just had like an insane sub train today, guys. I hope I haven't missed anybody, but Turbo Potato 762 rocked us with that prime sub, adding on to that sub count. This is probably our biggest sub day in like half a year. We've been seriously floating like around like 1,000, never quite being comfortably at 1,000. We'd go offline, we'd come back tomorrow with like 980 or 990 subs, but yo, we are rocking 1,027 subscribers with a grand total of 24, no, excuse me, I refreshed, 27 new subscribers this stream. This has been sick. Thank you guys for getting involved. We're gonna go to commercial break though, and we have to actually go to a word specifically from our sponsors. So if you guys are not interested in any of this, you're safe to come back in about 5 or 10 minutes. But for now, a word from TING. If you don't know who TING are or what they do, they're first off sponsoring this tournament. So if you're enjoying the stream, if you're enjoying the games, this wouldn't be happening without them. Secondly, they got a Matcherino page set up with some cool rewards on there. For example, if you want to buy that TING t-shirt, yes, it's $20, but guess what? $20 goes to the prize pool if you buy that shirt. They don't take any profit on it. They're just trying to hype things up. On top of this, they're a great company. If you don't actually know what they do, it's a US mobile phone service. So if you're somebody who's like paying a bunch of money every month, like actually, let's be clear about this. The average phone bill on Ting is like $25 or less. So if you're paying more than that per month for your phone bill, it's worth looking into see if Ting is good for you or not. Ting will best benefit you if you're somebody who's around Wi-Fi all the time, if you're not on the calls 24/7, look into it. Seriously, I used Ting when I traveled to the States before I got this unlimited data plan with this other company. But last year, every time I went to the States, if I was there for a weekend, roaming was $7 a day, 21 bucks. Use Ting, $9 for the same amount of phone usage. Seriously, even if you don't live in the States, you just plan to visit the States, whether it's a weekend or a week here and there, it's worth looking into Ting. So if you go to bttv.ting.com, you'll get $25 in credit, essentially letting you try their services for free. But I'll let them tell you more about it as we go to this commercial break. See you soon.